to the podium. A big round of applause for Mr. Celestine.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, our International President, Dr. Oyedeku. It's a privilege to stand on this podium. To our existing fellows, good afternoon. Our fellows, our incoming fellows, and distinguished guests. I'll be speaking on AI-powered decisioning, transforming business strategies through intelligent insights. Transforming business strategies through intelligent insights. And I'm going to throw a question to us. How many critical business decisions did you make this week? A question for each one of us to answer. How many critical business decisions did you make this week? Imagine yourself answering that question. I would have probably loved for us to go one by one to answer those questions, but for time. So you can now imagine what AI can enable in terms of analyzing this vast amount of data. It's one thing for you and I to have data. It's another thing for you to derive insights. And I'm talking about actionable insights from such data. And therefore, in the just concluded AI automation masterclass we had here in Abuja at Dennis Hotel, I threw a question up. And I'm also throwing that question up today. When we talk about AI-powered decisioning, or we talk about AI-powered tools, or we talk about AI-powered systems, or we talk about AI-powered ecosystem. But let's even take AI as AI. Would you consider it to be a strategy, a movement, or just a tool? Anyone? What do you say? A movement. Any different opinion? A tool. But here is a fact. AI is not just a movement. It's a movement because we keep adapting, and it keeps what? Evolving. Then it's a movement. Because when you stop at what you know about AI today, you could wake up tomorrow, and what happens? You become Nokia. You become a laggard incumbent. But it's also a tool. Why? Because it's an amplifier. It enhances our already existing capability. And therefore, there is this debate. Would AI replace me in my job function, in my job role, in whatever? It's an ongoing debate. And the answer is neither yes or no. And I'll tell you why. No, but with a caveat. And the caveat is that as long as you don't move on the path of decisioning, as long as you don't move on the path of adapting and adopting, then you become probably obsolete even in your profession. As a strategy, it's a strategy simply because it provides us with actionable insights that allows us to make informed decisions. So if I make now, we have what I call the rise of fake data. So, sir, if I make my decision based on fake data, what kind of decision will I make? What kind of decision will I make? For want of time, I don't want to talk about black box AI and actionable AI. But they are critical when we are talking about an AI-powered decisioning. So it's both a tool, it's a strategy, it's also what? A movement. We cannot take that out of the context. And therefore, let's look at what I call the global transformation. How many of you know that today, at least as at yesterday, that AI processes over 500 quintillion bytes of data on a daily basis? On a daily basis. Now, there is an ongoing story, an imagined story. And how many of us have heard about the meme coin? This meme coin is what is trending now, especially in the West and, of course, East Africa. And you'll be wondering, a meme coin that has a market capital value of $270 million within 24 hours. $270 million within 24 hours. How did it happen? How did it happen? Without going in depth into the story, I will tell you the ecosystem. The meme coin is built by an AI agent, not human. This same AI agent has terminal truth handle that it tweets on every 2 minutes. It tweets on that X account. This same AI agent built by Andy, the way he built it, it's meant to be an autonomous set of what? AI agents without the human loop. And that brings us back to what we are discussing today. AI-powered decisioning. Now, when we talk about responsible use of AI, then what we are simply talking about is what I call explainable AI. When we talk about irresponsible use of AI, where you make decisions that are not informed or that are not supported by what? Insights, then what happens? How many of us remember the Samoa Agreement? We all do, don't we? Huh? As far as many analysts are concerned, you see them on Channels TV, you see them on AIT, you see them everywhere. And of course, we have the social media activists who think they know, who discuss issues without insights, who discuss issues without the relevant information, but they only discuss issues. Guess what? Not on insight, not on information, but purely on what? Data. Now, when you make decisions based on data alone, sorry, what kind of decision are you going to make? But here is an autonomous AI community. I'm using that as a case study. An autonomous AI community. Different AI agents communicating among themselves and yet making decisions based on the vast amount of data they have been able to analyze. And they said, this is the time to create a meme coin. And they began to tweet about it. And what happened? People like you and I, who thought this AI community are humans who have created a meme coin, began to do what? Invest. And they invested $270 million within 24 hours. That is just to give you the power of insight. Or let's even talk about Maersk, the global shipping company. That they were able under 24 hours to notice a pattern that, look, if we do not take care of the back logistics, we are heading to what? To a disaster. You know, when we talk about crisis, there is no crisis without issues. There must be what? Issues first before the crisis will emerge. So when you don't have insights as to the imagined issues, what will be the result? It will be crisis that you may not be able to manage. Let's move ahead. Sorry, I don't have my laptop here. Now, I want to talk about public sector innovation. Thank God Aliu is here. I want to talk about public sector innovation. And 3 agencies come to mind. The National Orientation Agency and the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria. And you'll be wondering, why am I mentioning these 2 agencies? I am mentioning these 2 agencies because they've been able not just to use AI to power the kind of decisions they make, but they've been able to show what AI can enable in terms of strategy and in terms of effective tools that can take them to the next level. If we had a screen here, I probably would have shown you a framework that can make you understand it better. But let me just permit me to read it here. Now, the transformation we are witnessing isn't limited to private enterprise. I've mentioned mask. Just last 2 weeks, we rolled out what we call Vox PR Insight. I'm sure many of you would have seen the video that trended about the Ondo State governor, where they said he was fighting some ladies in UK. This particular video went viral. It trended. I'm sure some of us seated in this room believed that video to be a reality. In fact, some publication, respected publication, went ahead to publish what? To publish the story and make reference to the video. So imagine us fighting with fake news today. Imagine us fighting with deep fake. Okay? Probably we may begin to question if our international president is not cloned. Then we are having the rise of fake data. If you are in the C-suite, how do you manage this and ensure that you are not making your decision based on fake data? We call it synthetic data. So if I'm making my decision as a CEO, as a DG, as a president, as a minister, on fake data, then I'm asking again, what kind of decision am I going to make? Will it be informed decision, disinformed decision, or misdecision? Can anybody answer that? Huh? We don't know whether to be disinformed, misinformed, and what have you. And that is why we talk about misinformation, disinformation, and the list goes on and on. But let me go back to the case study. These 2 case studies are very interesting. Okay, so like I said, the transformation we are witnessing isn't limited to private enterprise. Let me share the compelling story, the compelling example from the public sector. And I mentioned National Orientation Agency and FRCN. NOA, because through the power of AI, they created an ecosystem. An ecosystem that allows them, 1, to do what I call effective citizen engagement. NOA is said to be visible in 774 what? Local governments. How do you amass that vast amount of data? How do you aggregate them and make informed decision as a DG? Tell me how. Our international president is here. How can he make informed decision? Looking at all the chapters from UK to Canada to Australia to Ghana to South Africa, How can you amass those vast amount of data? But we are talking about 774 local government. And through the power of AI, as those officers aggregate, curate all the emerging threats, the emerging activities that is happening in these countries, and as they upload it to the AI-powered data, guess what happens? The AI has an algorithm that analyzes these vast amounts of data and provide what? Analytical insight that makes it easier for the DG to know what is happening in real time. And it categorizes them. Is it security? Is it environmental issues? All those issues. So that before they become a crisis, the issue is already what? Sorted out. Then, the ecosystem has what I call collaborator, sealed under National Retention Agency. Before I go to collaborator, let me talk about Clean. Clean is an AI agent we built. How many of us have heard of what I call the value chartered document? It's voluminous. How can you, as a citizen, even digest that amount of book or that amount of policy? They say if you want to hide gold from an African man, insert it in a book. We all seated here. I'm sure many of us, we are signed up to different platforms. Isn't it? Different platforms. How many of us have Gmail? You have a Gmail account, all of us. But is there anybody in this room that can authoritatively say, when I signed up for Gmail, I read the terms and conditions? Anyone? Eh? It will not stop. It will continue. But what has AI been able to do? Today, before I sign any terms and conditions, if you like, make it one font, as in one. Make it so tiny. And make it as long as you want to make it. Eh? I will gather it together. And do what? Ask my AI Lord, I call them Lord, my AI Lord to do what? Analyze it and provide what? Actionable insights and flag those things I should not agree with. Today, many of us seated here use ChatGPT without knowing that as long as you do not disable the authority or the permission for ChatGPT to use your data to train future models, then tomorrow you come and say, now, there's this debate going on, and let me throw it. I mean, we are data governance experts. Let me throw it to you. The content that is generated by LLMs, large language models, who owns it? The LLM or you? Who owns it? You. You are sure? You are sure you own it? Eh? Okay. Madam, you say you own it. Which LLM do you use? Meta AI, Cloud, Gemini, ChatGPT? Which one? ChatGPT. Okay. When you click on the terms and conditions, when you were signing up, did you read the terms and conditions? Go back and read it. Because when you read it, you will know that as long as you do not disable the personalization button, they have the right to use your data to do what? Train future models. So you can now imagine, as a CEO of a company, you are uploading confidential information or patented information that should not be out there, and you're uploading it without disabling. Who owns it? Not you. Not you. But don't let me digress. Let me still focus on NOA as a roundup. So with Clean, if you go to NOA website now, as we speak, you can either converse intelligently with Clean, that is the name of the AI agent. Ask it any question. Is it ask it or ask her? Okay, ask her any question. about any government policy or any government initiative. And you will see how it will break it down into digestible bits using the power of explainable AI. So you can either converse with it or chat with it. Now, let me go to FRCN. Yesterday we had the second leg of our master class. That was the second day. And we wanted the participants, it's not just about theory, it's hands-on. And guess what? FRCN has never played. Now, our international president took a session on ethics and governance yesterday. And he mentioned something. And he asked a question. And that same question I'm pushing back to us. As a member of the C-suite, whether you are a CEO, an MD, a chief this, a chief that, and what have you, what or who would you consider your most critical asset? Is it the building? Is it the generator? The people. The people is your what? Most critical asset. And they decided to send 18 participants to attend that event from across the nation. But guess what happened? At the end of the event, at the end of the master class, they were able to build 2 solutions without paying a developer millions of naira to come up with those 2 solutions. One of them is what we call remote access. Ask me what remote access does. The DG has already done his analysis to know the use cases as far as that institution is concerned. And based on that, he was also able to select the critical asset relevant to add value to the bottom line. And guess what these critical assets did? Based on the hands-on training, they were able to build what I call remote access. If you ask me, what is remote access? Remote access is a combination of AI agents that is able to do what? To enhance audio quality. So as we are here, irrespective of the noise out there, is able to clean out the what? The background noise. And you are talking as if you are what? In a studio. Using what? AI. But that wouldn't have been possible without the relevant insight. The next one is Brand Pilot that they built. And what does it do? It's able to identify patterns and trends. How can you make informed decisions if you do not note the patterns and trends that are emerging in your industry or even your profession? Today, we can say, oh, the woman has left because we would have it's her turn. You could say that what they study in most universities today is obsolete. Totally obsolete. They asked the CEO of NVIDIA, they asked Meta, why don't you employ people who have gone through the 4 walls of the university? He said it's not about the certificate. It's about what? Capacity. And he said that based on experience, based on insight, and we can go on and on. So for NOA, they have clean, they have the collaborator, they have the digitization, and I can go on and on. But guess what? That is not the interesting part. They also have what I call visualizer, DG visualizer. There is nothing that goes on in the 774 local governments that it doesn't see in a single view in its dashboard. Could you have done this without the power of AI? No. I'm rounding up, finally. Finally, let's talk about the 3 pillars of AI-powered decisioning. There are 3 pillars. The first pillar is what I call data quality and integration. Once your data quality is faulty. Don't even talk about integration. Because that means you will mess up every single thing that you have ever done and you ever hope to do. They say, what can the righteous do if the foundation is what? Faulty. Nothing. And that's where we are today as a nation. The other is what I call collabo. Collabo. The collaboration of human, the future of AI. Let's get it straight. The future of AI is not automation. Let's get it straight. The future of AI is augmentation. As long as augmentation is not in the midst, there will always be irresponsible use of AI. So the human loop still becomes critical in AI-powered what? Decisioning. Let me just go straight. Let me just round up with this. Let's look at, I'll just take 2 slides and I'll round up. Sorry, because I'm using my phone, it's really difficult to. Let's just touch on future trends in AI-powered decisioning. What are the future trends? When we talk about future trends, when is the future? Tomorrow? Next year? Next 2 years? When? When is the future? The future is now. So while you are waiting for the future, you can also, I think I'm also to be blamed, because when we started some trials with Anthropic, they came up with what I call computer use. Go towards the last slide. They came up with what I call computer use. This computer use, we thought, no, go up. No, that's conclusion, please. Up. Yes, thank you. No, stop there. That's it. Future trends. The next slide. Now, as we look into the future, I see 3 key trends that will shape AI-powered decisioning. So I was talking about Anthropic. Now, when they came up with computer use, the projection was that by February or March, computer use will be rolled out. Computer use is an AI model built by Anthropic, okay, that can take entire control of your laptop. That every single thing you do is learning, and within 48 hours, it assumes your responsibility. So if your task is to do, let's take for instance, media monitoring, there are steps you take, okay? If your task is a data information management, you are performing in that role, and you perform certain tasks, computer use does what? It aggregates and consumes that knowledge and begins to do everything that you used to do autonomously, without your instruction, without your prompt. So we are not even talking about prompt engineering. Every single task, it begins to do it. They've rolled it out. Though you can only use it for now through their API. But you can imagine that. And we talk about explainable AI. I've mentioned it. I call it the rise of explainable AI. The only way you can make complex decisions that are right and valid is through what? Explainable AI. Let me explain. How many of us have used ChatGPT to write content, or produce strategy? So many of us. I also do. And the question I asked them in my masterclass yesterday was simple. What is the logic behind the result? Can you answer? We do not know. And when OpenAI came up with O1 Preview, O1 Preview had what? A competition with the best PhD holders you can ever find in the world. guess the difference in percentage. Why OI preview was going to 93%? Our dear PhD holders, we're about 73%. That shows you the power of intelligence. But the question is, what is the logic? AI feeds on only two things: the data and the what? Algorithm. Those are the food AI eats. Without the data, without the algorithm, and probably if you want to go complex, without the logic, nothing happens. And that's why I said the future of AI is not automation, but what? Augmentation. The next is emotional intelligence. Let's stop talking about AI if you don't talk about two things: emotional intelligence and native intelligence. In fact, the first time I knew that ChatGPT can converse in pidgin English was my 10-year-old daughter, who I have probably taught how to use ChatGPT. And I only knew that ChatGPT could speak pidgin. And ChatGPT knows about abula. I'm not first abula. Abula is a mixture of amala, begira, the wedu. But I never knew. Thank you. That's okay. Then the last is AI democratization. How can small organizations use AI? The access, is it accessible in terms of funding? Is it accessible in terms of the logic behind it? So as for us seated here, especially those of us in IIM, it becomes our duty to advocate what? Black box AI or explainable AI? Which one of them? I'm throwing the question. The question is for all of us, both existing and the ones coming in. Should we be advocating for black box AI or explainable AI? Explainable AI talks about ethics, talks about responsible use of AI. Why black box AI talks about what? It's enclosed. You do not know the algorithm. You know nothing about the logic. You know nothing about the reasoning. And that's why I said these are the three trends. And as we go on, we are going to see people talking more about what? Explainable AI. Then lastly, call to action. The call to action here for all of us seated here is one: identify one critical decision-making process in your organization that could benefit from what? AI enhancement. In fact, you must identify. It's either you adopt, or you become what? A laggard incumbent. Simple as ABC. 2, evaluate your data readiness. Very important, and this is where most companies fail. It's surprising. I'm sure you have heard how some LLMs fail in some models. They failed in those models because of what? They didn't properly evaluate their data readiness for AI implementation. Lastly, C, call to action, is create what? A cross-functional team to explore AI possibilities. And that's why we will always cry that the two critical skill sets remains your mastery of English and simple as ABC, your ability to create the perfect scenario. I close with this. Let me leave you with this thought as I end up my session. Okay, in 1997, some of us have heard about Deep Blue. Deep Blue defeated who? Garry Kasparov, the best chess player in the world. It defeated it in chess competition. Many saw it as what? Machines triumphing over human. I was one of them. I've said AI as what? Beating what? The chess champion. Okay? But today, Guess the strongest chess player. The strongest chess player is augmentation. The fusion of human and what? Artificial intelligence. Look at it. They are teams of humans and AI working what? Together. As long as you work alone in the era of AI, sorry, this is not a threat. You are heading to what? Becoming Nokia. When Nokia was asked, what happened? Nokia was the best. He said, we did everything right. We took all the right decisions. Go and read the story of Nokia. He said, we took all the what? Right decision. So why did Nokia fail? If the C-suite took all the right decision, why did they what? Fail. This is why they fail. This is our future across all industries. Not AI versus what? Human intelligence. But AI and what? Human intelligence. So whether you like it or yes, as long as you do not adapt, and evolve, then whatever decision you make at the C-suite is bound to be what? A failure. I close with this. The future of business belongs to those who can harness the power of both human wisdom and what? Artificial intelligence. The tools are ready. The potential is limited. The time to act is now. Thank you.